Hello everybody, welcome to another lesson. So today we are going to talk about numbers and expressions. So what that is, basically the first part of this lesson will be a review of basic math with order of operations. If you're unsure or still struggling with order of operations, please see my other videos. My most recent one was towards the end of the Basic Math 2 playlist with the order of operations of real numbers. That's where I really break it down and go into depth with the order of operations, but today is just going to be a review of it. And we're also going to work on translating words into numbers. We're going to do some very minor word problems, and I mean very minor. It's nothing big at all, but it's to help build mathematical literacy so you're able to understand what something's saying in English and be able to translate it to numbers. So for when you have word problems, that is a critical skill. So let's start out here, and let's start out with our first problem. Alright, so let's do a little bit of basic math review here. Let's say you have something like 3 times 6 minus 4. This is a numerical expression, your classic everyday math problem. Well, of course we know you have 3 times 6 minus 4. Well, of course we're going to do the multiplication first. 3 times 6 is 18. Then you still have minus 4. Now this is just a subtraction problem. 18 minus 4 is 14. So the answer for this is 14. Alright. There was that one. And then we have 12 divided by 3 plus 21. So we have 12 divided by 3 plus 21. Well, according to the order of operations, you're going to do the division first. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. So you'd be left with 4 plus 21. 4 plus 21 is, well, 25. So 25 would be the answer we're looking for. It never hurts to review these because as we get further along, there's going to be less review. So it's important to have a grasp on this stuff early. Next we have 8 plus 5 times 6. As we know, if we have a number times something in parentheses, that also means times. So we have 8 plus 5 times 6. Well, the order of operations would dictate we do the multiplication first. So you leave the 8 alone for a minute, plus, was 5 times 6, that's 30. You would end up having 8 plus 30, which would give you 38. So the answer to this equation is 38. Alright, what's next here? Alright, so let's say we have 15 plus 9 as the numerator over 32 minus 20 in the denominator. So we have a fraction here. We have 15 plus 9 in the numerator over 32 minus 20 in the denominator. Good news is, though, in each the numerator and denominator, they're relatively simple addition or subtraction problems. So we'll go ahead here. Let's add up the numerator. 15 plus 9, well, that's 24. And then let's do the denominator. 32 minus 20 is 12. We're not done, though. We can get this into simplest form. 24 over 12, well, that's actually a division problem. 24 divided by 12, we know, is 2. So the answer we'd be looking for is 2. Okay, what's the very next one? We have 45 minus 18 all over 9 divided by 3. So we have in the numerator 45 minus 18 all over 9 divided by 3. Well, let's just start with the numerator first. The numerator, 45 minus 18, that's going to be 27. what's in the denominator? 9 divided by 3. Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So you're left with 27 thirds, which if you take 27 divided by 3, the answer you should get is 9. So the answer we're looking for here is 9. So whenever you have these fraction type of problems, just take it one piece at a time. The numerator first, then the denominator first, and then simplify the fraction if you're able to. In this case, we were able to simplify it. We got simplified down to 9. So also with order of operations, if you remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. If you remember that, you're going to do just fine with order of operations. Alright, let's see. We have one here. We have 11 times 6 minus 1. So we have 11 times a quantity of 6 minus 1. Well, of course, order of operations would dictate we do parentheses first. So we have 11. Now what's in parentheses? 6 minus 1, which is 5. Now we just have a multiplication problem of 11 times 5. That's going to give you 55. So your answer to this problem is 55. I got one more basic math problem here, and then we're going to do a few words. Alright, here we go. We have 56 divided by 7 times 2 times 6. We see two symbols for times. You know what? Here. I'm going to get rid of that X. There's a reason for that. Especially now that we're moving into algebra, I really don't think we should use X as a time symbol because it's going to be a variable. And if you try to multiply variables, you have one that's X and one that means the time symbol. It's going to get very confusing very quickly. So from here on out, let's try to use either parentheses or the dot to denote multiplication. Okay? So here we have division, we got parentheses with multiplication inside the parentheses and multiplication. Alright. Well, order of operations dictates we do the parentheses first, of course. Parentheses will always come first. So you'll have 56 divided by, now what's in parentheses? 7 times 2, that's 14. All that times 6. Now, if we recall from basic math 1 and 2 here, when you have division and multiplication together, they both have the same priority as each other, because division is nothing more than multiplying by the reciprocal. Therefore, you can do division and multiplication from left to right. So what we're going to do first then is 56 divided by 14, which would happen to give you 4. You'll still have 4 times 6 you got to deal with. Well, what is 4 times 6? That's 24. So the answer to this math problem would be 24, based on the order of operations. Alright, I think we get the idea with order of operations in the basic equations. Let's do a few words here. Let's see. Let's say you saw something like 7 increased by 2. So you have it in words here. You have it 7 increased by 2, okay? Well, of course, you got the number 7. Let's start there. Let's translate these into numbers. You have 7 increased. When you increase, you add, okay? So it's plus increased by 2, right? So it's being increased by 2, you're adding 2 to it. So what this translates into is 7 plus 2. 7 increased plus by 2, so 7 plus 2. That's what that would translate into. Some of these terminology and phrases you're going to hear are very important for when we go to do word problems at a later date. Which we know the solution to that, 7 plus 2 is 9. The answer to that would be 9. Easy enough there, right? Now let me change one word. Let me change one word here. Let's say we have 7 decreased. We got 7 decreased by 2. So of course you'll start with your first number, 7. But decrease, of course, you're taking away, you're subtracting. So that'd be minus by 2. So it'd be 7 minus 2. 7 decreased minus by 2. So you'd have 7 minus 2, which we know happens to be 5. So increase, you're adding. Decrease, you're subtracting. Pretty simple so far. But these are important words and phrases you're going to want to know. Okay. How about this one? 11 more than 15. So we have this written in plain English words here. We need to translate it to a numerical equation, to an expression. That's what we need to translate it to, as an expression. 11 more than 15. If you see something with either more or less than, you'll start with the second number that's given. 11 more than 15. So if you see more or less than, you actually start with the second number given first. So that would be 15, right? 11 more than 15. More means addition also. 11 more than 15. So that would actually be 15 plus 11. So you got more than 15. It tells you 15 is your starting number. More than means plus, and then 11. It tells you how much more. Right? So if we go based on that, 15 plus 11, we know the answer to that would be 26. That's an easy solution there. But it's all about literacy of math here. It's all about being able to understand what it is they're saying exactly, because this is critical for word problems. Okay, what if we had 11 less than 15? This time it's 11 less than 15. Again, so if it's more or less than, you start with your second number, which would be 15. Okay? Now, less than means you're subtracting. It's minus. Less than your first number, 11. So it's, you got 15, then you have 11 less than, which means minus 11, which we know the answer to this would be 4. That would be the answer to the question, would be 4. But, so when it was 11 more than 15, you started with your 15 first. More than is a plus sign, and it was 11 more, so it would be 15 plus 11. With this less than, you still start with your second number, 15. But less than means subtraction, and then it tells you 11 less than. That's how much less than it was, so you'd have 15 minus 11, if that makes sense. It's just being able to understand these equations, being able to understand the wording. Alright, let's see. Well, I think that's, let's see. I don't think we need to teach 9 multiplied by 5. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. That means 9 times 5. Here's a good one. The cost of 3 notebooks at $6 each. Alright? So the cost of 3 notebooks at $6 each. So you're going to have, it tells you how many notebooks. You have 3 notebooks, right? 3 of them. They're each $6. You would multiply that by the $6. So you would have 3 times $6. If it's a quantity of something at so much each, usually each means multiplication. Whenever you see the term each, that's usually referring to a multiplication problem. So 3 times 6, well, that would be $18. In the end, the cost of the 3 notebooks would be $18. But look out for the word each. That usually is going to refer to a multiplication problem. Alright, well, I think that does it for today. So, the next lesson we will deal with variables and expressions. We'll get into some variables in the next lesson. So, look forward to that. I hope everybody has a good night. Take care.